Jan Volkner and Rob Willer ran this study out of Stanford University, and they challenged researchers around the world to come up with the best interventions they could to reduce this partisan animosity and increase support for democracy and so forth. And 252 teams submitted a proposed intervention. Again, from around the world. And this was not just scientists, but practitioners and people at think tanks and so forth. And then they had a panel of experts, political scientists, pick what they thought were the 25 best interventions. And then they tested them on 32,000 Americans. And my lab saw this and we said, let's create one based on my book. So we created an intervention based on the principles in our book, which you've touched on already, we've been talking about. And, creating a shared identity, something in common, and then underscoring that there are shared values as well and norms of commitment to democracy. And we created a short, 5-minute intervention in our lab. And then we sent it to them as one of the top 25. And I remember being horrified that it was not going to work or do very badly. And then there goes the whole point of spending 2 years writing a book. But we got the results back. I was super excited. It was the third best out of all 25, out of 252 interventions. And my postdoc who was on it likes to say it was statistically tied for first. But I don't want to overclaim. So anyways, I'll tell you the top three because they were better than all the rest. And not only did they work at reducing partisan animosity, they had really solid effect sizes. So in other words, they had a substantial reduction and they lasted for multiple weeks later. So these are as good as we got, I think, for interventions. It was a huge sample of 32,000 Americans from every age, every political affiliation, every racial demographic, gender balanced, all these things. The three best interventions. Ours was about creating a common identity and highlighting shared values and a shared sense of purpose for Americans. And that was the third best. The second best was revealing to people that the media was misportraying them. And so if you get a sense that people understand that your group is being misrepresented or misportrayed in the media, that kind of takes your guard down because people really have the sense that they're being creating a caricature of them and that other people see them through that lens and they don't like that. Conservatives don't want to be seen through that stereotype and neither do Democrats. And then the one that was best was actually just a Heineken commercial. I don't know if you ever saw this. It was based on, the theory behind it is really, it's classic in social psychology. It's called contact theory. And the video, it was a short commercial by Heineken, and it just showed two random people coming into a room and they just got instructions. And they slowly were building something. They didn't know what it was. And over, some time they built a bar. And then they sat them down at the bar when it was done. And all of a sudden they put a video up that each individual of the two individuals who built the bar about what their political perspectives were before they had come in to build the bar. And they were different. Almost everyone was like a conservative and a liberal. And they showed the videos and they just stood there in silence watching these videos of their political perspectives and how different they were. And then they put a beer on the bar, 2 beers, and they said, would you be willing to stick around and talk about your political differences over a beer? And of course, I don't know how much they edited this, but everybody's like, sure. And they showed them kind of starting a real, genuine conversation. And that was really powerful because it shows real, genuine interpersonal relationships and positive contact can make people open-minded to kind of bridging their divides, or at least understanding other people in greater depth, with greater empathy.